Welcome to the Uzziah Show. I am your host, Uzziah, your success strategist. And if you have any questions about your business, career, or finances, then this is the show for you. Welcome. Tonight, we're going to talk about something very important that's affecting a lot of people. 56% of Americans cannot afford to suffer an emergency to bail themselves out with $1,000. 56% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. On tonight's broadcast, I'm going to show you guys how we can avoid this, and I'm going to walk you through some step-by-step actions that we can take to make sure that we can do better. So if you love tonight's broadcast, please do me a favor, smash that like button. It only takes 2 seconds, but it'll go a very long way towards growing this channel. Now, for those of you that are watching this show for the very first time, my name is Uzziah. I'm a professional business consultant, and my job is to help you get out of debt so you can start your own company. And the reason why tonight's lesson is so important is because most people won't have the finances needed to start a business successfully because everybody's going broke.
Nope.
Now, here's the thing about it, guys. You know, all these social media gurus would tell you that everybody's rich, everybody's paid, everybody's getting to the bag.
Nope.
But I'm showing y'all that over 1 out of every 2 Americans cannot afford a minor setback. 1 out of 2 Americans do not have $1,000 in their savings account. I want to walk you guys through some practical steps that we need to know in order for us to be financially secure so that we can protect our households, so that we can create generational wealth. So if that's what you're about, please make sure that you tap that dollar icon directly below the live chat box. Your donations is what keeps the show going. Now let's tap in, y'all. Let's go ahead and get to this article. Enough talking. 56% of Americans can't cover a $1,000 emergency expense with savings.
Nope.
Most Americans are still struggling to build solid savings accounts nearly 2 years into the you know what. Y'all know whenever I do that, I'm talking about that thing that you're reading about right now on the screen. It says some 56% of Americans are unable to cover an unexpected $1,000 bill with savings, according to a telephone survey of more than 1,000 adults conducted in early January by Bankrate. Now, for those of you that don't know Bankrate is a company that tracks a lot of the top interest rates that are in accounts, from checking accounts to savings accounts to money market accounts. Bankrate gives a lot of financial information for American people. It says emergency savings and the $1,000 threshold are really an indication of how much people are struggling, that they are that close to the edge financially, said Greg McBride, Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Analyst at Bankrate. So I want you guys to think about this. The average American is only one small emergency away from disaster. If they lost one paycheck for the month, they would be done. And this is the reason why we've got to learn financial literacy. We've got to gain financial freedom. There are so many people right now that are struggling, and I want to show you guys what steps people are taking as they're going up against their debt. It says how Americans would cover an emergency $1,000 bill. 44% of Americans who have money in their savings account would cover the bill from their accounts. This is the reason why I always tell you guys to have an emergency fund. I always tell you guys to have a bare minimum amount of $1,000 in emergency savings, because these type of minor emergencies can happen at any time. Guys, $1,000 ain't even covering you from nothing big.
Nope.
$1,000 is, hey, you need to change your tires. $1,000 is the car breaks down, and hopefully it's so easy of a fix that it's not costing $1,000 or more. $1,000 emergency fund is just to get through small problems. So there's 44% of people that can cover that through their savings. 20% of Americans will charge a credit card to get themselves out of $1,000 jam. Most Americans are so loaded with debt that they will not look to a savings account as their first sign of help. They're going to charge a credit card. They're going to pay the bill, but cut down other expenses, borrow money from family or friends, or take out a personal loan. And I want you guys to realize this. A lot of you get on this broadcast night after night talking about crypto, talking about investing in real estate. But if you don't have any money in your emergency fund, that's a surefire way to keep you broke. The reason why that will keep you broke is because for every emergency that you run into, if you don't have enough money to bail yourself out, you going into debt is only going to slow you down that much more. If you have to load up a ton of debt on your credit card, or even worse, take out a payday loan, that's going to stop you from getting financial freedom. It's going to stop you guys from getting ahead. Something important that I want y'all to think about. Right now, a lot of y'all don't like y'all's jobs. Just as a quick poll, I'm going to stop and I'm going to look at the comments. Please make sure that y'all leave me a comment. Let me know that you're here. Let me know your name. Let me know where you're from. Let me know if you have any emergency savings. I want to see this in a comment, guys. Also, I'm going to put a link for y'all to cam up because I want to get y'all's thoughts more on this subject. 56% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Are you one of them? The question is, what steps are you taking in order to get better? Are you just saying, you know what? Oh my God, I'll always be broke. The economy is always going to be bad. Are you taking any steps towards improving your situation? Or are you just allowing yourself to just stay right where you are until the end of time? Shout out to my brother Native Arraign, man. It's good to see you on, my brother. You've been on my mind. How you been, man? I hope all is well. Feel free to leave me a comment, man. For all of y'all that are on, make sure that y'all smash that like button. Tonight, we're talking about 56% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck. We got to realize, man, there's got to be a better way. Now, let's go back to the article, y'all. I'm showing y'all on this article that over 50% of all Americans are completely devastated if they run into a little emergency. $1,000 is not a lot of money, but yet most of us cannot cover that if we fell on hard times. So what are we going to do to make our situation better? It says 44% of Americans would pay an emergency bill from their savings account. 20% would charge a credit card and pay it over time. 15% would pay the bill and cut other expenses. 10% would borrow from family or friends. 4% would take out a personal loan. It says, instead of drawing on their emergency savings funds, many Americans would have to go into debt to foot an unexpected $1,000 bill, either by asking family and friends for a loan, taking a personal loan from a bank, or charging a credit card. Barrier to savings. To be sure, the 44% of Americans who could cover $1,000 emergency expense from their savings is the highest percentage in 8 years. So I want y'all to notice, even though there's only 56% of Americans who can get themselves out of a bad situation financially, that still is a large improvement over how things have gone for the past decade. I personally believe the reason why more people are getting their savings up is because of everything that we've witnessed over the past 2 years with all of the lockdowns and all of the unemployment. A lot of people lost their jobs, and it was a lesson not to just live life for the day. It taught a lot of people very painfully, make sure that you have some money set aside. So guys, keep getting your savings up. If you're one of the people that have yet to invest and put some money aside in your emergency fund, now is the time to do it. It says, in addition, some adults fare better than others in building and keeping solid emergency savings. Nearly 60% of those with college degrees could cover a $1,000 expense, as could more than half of people who make $50,000 a year or more. Now, let me break this down a little bit. The reason why it says nearly 60% of those with a college degree could cover a $1,000 expense is because typically people that have college degrees out earn people who don't. The reason why it says more than half of people who make $50,000 a year or more have some kind of savings in their account is because you have to make enough money in order to be able to save some. We also have to keep in mind inflation has gone up by 7% over the past year. Inflation is at an all-time high at its fastest pace over the past 40 years. And we need to realize, guys, we have to make more just to have the same quality of living. You got to understand, over the past 12 months, you've gotten 7% poorer.
Nope.
Your buying power has gone down almost 10%. So even if you were making $50,000 at the beginning of 2021, that can't take you nearly as far as what today's cost of living now is in 2022. Whatever money that you had back then, you were able to afford more than you can today. And one of the things that was said in this article was just about every expense to run a household has gone up. In addition, she added that parents may be especially struggling if their children are in and out of school due to, which not only impacts budgets, but how much some can work each week. So, guys, I want you guys to see something. We got to start thinking into the future. We got to realize that this is not going to be a temporary thing. This is going to be something that's here to stay. So while we got more people on, let me shout out everybody that's in the house. Shout out to my brother, Shama Arya. Let's give him a round of applause, y'all. Let me give a big round of applause to Nicole P. Shout out to Nicole P. from the chef. Shout out to Roy the chef, man. My brother, Roy the chef. My brother. So good to have the house of Roy the chef in the house. All right. Let's make sure y'all smash that like button. Let's get these super chats going, y'all. Lauren Morales says, I feel the inflation. Let's not all cry at once. Listen, man. It's hard times coming, y'all. And I warned y'all, I did that video at the end of 2021. And I told y'all, hey, listen, as much as we talk about leveling up and making more money, This is not just about counting your ones. This is about making sure that you have enough to protect your household. Life is only getting more expensive, and we got to make sure that we can support each other by the minute. Okay. So please make sure, y'all, that y'all tap in with me on this topic. It's going to be very important when it comes to you and your family creating generational wealth. Cost of living is going up. 1 out of every 2 Americans cannot cover $1,000 emergency. And as I warned y'all, as inflation gets higher and higher, it's only going to make the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. It's going to do away with the middle class completely. The middle class is not going to be able to afford a comfortable living. That whole American dream about how the average person can buy a house, with the nice white picket fence, have the car, have about 3 or 4 kids, that American dream is going away.
Nope.
Either you're going to be in the haves or the have-nots. That's why we got to prepare. And shout out to my brother Yasha Allah for getting us going with the $20 sponsorship. Thank you so much for the super chat, my brother. Really appreciate you. Yasha Allah said, Shalom, big bro and family. Not feeling well, but I'm here. Let's keep our brother Yasha Allah in our prayers. Let's make sure, y'all, that Yasha Allah can make a quick recovery. Let us know what we can do to help. As y'all know, Yasha Allah is a very dedicated member on this platform, and we definitely need our brother to stay in full recovery. He's always working. I hope that's not taking too much of a toll on you, my brother. But I pray that you make a full recovery. So I'm going to give you all the link once again, the cam up. Okay, tonight we're talking about 56% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck. What are we going to do about it? Are we going to keep crying broke, or are we going to do better? Now, I got a question for y'all. I want y'all to leave me a comment on this. Why are so many people living check to check? I want to know y'all's thoughts. Is it because life is getting so expensive? Is it because there's no way to get ahead? Why are so many people living paycheck to paycheck, not able to afford basic emergencies? Now, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring on this topic. I know a lot of y'all not going to like it, but to hell with it. I think that a lot of people can't cover $1,000 emergency because most people do not budget. I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna keep it a buck. See, I've been doing this for years, y'all. I'm going on 10 years in running this company. And one of the things that I've learned the most throughout this past decade is that most people's financial situation could be a lot better than what it is if all they did was take the time to budget their money. What I'm saying is, for a lot of people, even if they did not make another cent, they would be able to have more money to protect themselves if all they did was budget. Because when you don't budget your money, you don't know how short you are each month. By you understanding where your money is going, you make sure that everything is covered in place. Now, you know what most people do to monitor their finances? They go on their online banking account, they'll check their balance, and then they'll just eyeball and say, oh, I'm good. $200 is in there. I can make it off of that.
Nope.
Most people don't take the time to go off of a budget. Now, if you guys were on this channel in 2021, I did a show about how to budget your money. Make sure you check out that show again. On that show, I broke down the importance of having a zero-based budget. A zero-based budget means you have your entire month allocated before the month begins. Before you guys step into the month of February, you need to already map out how much money you're planning to make, where every dollar is going to go, and you have your money assigned before the month begins. What happens is most people go to work, they get their paycheck. As soon as they get their check, it's right back out the window. And then they don't understand why they can't save anything. You have to start budgeting your money. And a lot of people, when I've consulted with them on this, I'll say, hey, are you budgeting your money? They'll say, yeah. I'll say, oh, okay. Well, what are you doing to budget your money? Can you show me your budget? Oh, well, see, what had happened was the way my schedule is set up, I'm not really on a budget. What I'm really doing is just counting and guessing. That's not a budget.
Nope.
You got to start budgeting your money. Guys, I try to give y'all so much game on how to create generational wealth. If I would have never budgeted my money, I would have never been able to pay over $95,000 in student loans 2 years after graduating from college. Had I not budgeted my money, I would have never owned over $1 million worth of real estate. I achieve the goals that I've accomplished financially because I know where my money is going. I know how much money I have. I know how much money I need. I know how short, how to cover the gap. I can only get that through having a budget. That's the reason why I always tell you guys, at a bare minimum, set up an account on mint.com. This is totally free. I am not sponsored by Mint, although I should. I should be getting some type of kickback from Mint by giving this kind of promo. You guys can get on there and set up a free account, and mint.com will tell you exactly where your money is going from month to month. Not only will it tell you how you're doing on your budget, it's also going to tell you your credit score. It's going to tell you how your net worth is performing over time. It's going to tell you the upcoming bills that you have. You're going to be able to see everything that you need about your finances all on one page. You guys have to budget your money in 2022. I don't care how much money you make. It's not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep. The average person that makes $100,000 will start to live a lifestyle like they make $150,000. They convince themselves that just because they're making a nice amount of money, they could buy whatever they need without having to discipline themselves at all. You got to budget your funds, guys, okay? And another thing that we really got to talk about in 2022 is creating another stream of income. Y'all know I always talk about this on my channel. The average millionaire has 7 different streams of income. Ariel will tell y'all, this year, I added 2 new streams of income into my portfolio in January. I'm looking to add on a 3rd stream of income. And when I'm saying adding on, I'm not saying I have 3 streams of income in total. I'm saying I'm looking to add new income streams on top of what I already have. My business is an income stream. My real estate is an income stream. I have multiple streams of income to hedge against inflation. You guys got to stay on this money game if you're going to make it out of 2022. We don't know how much inflation is going to go up this year, but Lord knows if it gets any higher than it is right now, it's going to break a lot of people. This year is going to make and break a lot of people's pockets. And if you're not planning ahead for this thing, you are going to be in for a world of trouble. I want to tell you guys about 3 things that happens whenever you need to cover an emergency and don't have the money for it. Make sure that y'all cam up. Okay. For all of y'all that are joining, welcome. Tonight, we're talking about 56% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck. Thank y'all for praying for Brother Yasha Allah that he makes a safe recovery. That's very, very solid. Very, very solid. Let's make sure that y'all smash that like button. Please make sure that y'all donate. Even if you like using Cash App or PayPal, the information is on the screen and the links are in the description below. Okay. So now let's talk about this, y'all. What happens when you need more money to cover an emergency, but you can't afford it? Number one, like the article says, you go into debt. You're already loaded in debt as is, but this only makes the situation worse. You may already have student loans, car loans, God forbid, payday loans, all these different loans. But then when you fall on hard times, which happens to everybody, you have no way of getting yourself out. See, guys, that $1,000, that's not meant to be like this high-end investment. It's meant to serve as a band-aid. We have to understand money has different functions. Not every dollar needs to be invested. Some of your dollars need to keep you secure. In 2022, we need to learn how to make your money work for you, and your money will work for you in different places. For some, your money will work for you in the real estate market. For some, it will work for you in the investment stock market. But you will not thrive in the markets if you have not learned how to secure your funds by having enough money to cover a basic emergency. Here's the thing y'all got to realize, guys. Half the time, it won't even be you going into an emergency. It might be a family member, a friend, a certain loved one that you want to look out for. But if you don't have the money in order to provide for them, then guess what? Everybody loses. So what happens when you need more money for an emergency, but you don't have the funds to cover it? One, you go into debt, which only makes your situation worse. That only means that you have to work more years of your life just to cover all of your expenses. If you guys want to get out of these 9-to-5 jobs, you got to work your way out of debt. The second thing that's going to happen is you're going to suffer the emergency. So imagine right now your car get towed. Well, if you don't have the money to be able to get your car out of the impound, well, it's just going to stay there. You're going to suffer that. Some of you guys may run into other kinds of emergencies. You might have a family member that needs urgent medical care. But if you don't have the money to sustain their treatment, that could be the end. And I would hate for that to be the case. Here's something that I want y'all to do. And I know you're going to think, oh man, this is corny, this is cliche, it's all of that. I promise you, I'm doing you a favor. This channel is to help you create generational wealth. Everybody that's serious about creating generational wealth right now, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to remember a very painful time in your life where there was something that you wanted to do, but you were unable to do it because you didn't have the money. Maybe it was taking your family on a vacation. Maybe it was you being able to visit a loved one before they passed away. I want you to remember the darkest moment that you've gone through, all because you didn't have the money. And I want you to take that pain and use it to inspire you to get to new levels. I want you to just allow that to work within you to say, you know what? How do I stop that from happening again? And guys, can I tell you something? Two of the biggest drivers that's motivated me to have financial freedom is one, me being homeless, and two, my father passing away. Those two events in my life have been the greatest motivators for me to level up. Because just like everybody else, I want to kick it. I want to relax. I want to party. I want to laugh. I want to joke. I want to do all of that. But I've been through painful situations in my life that I don't want to go through ever again. When I was homeless, I had to go into this little mini kind of deli shop on campus in college. And I had to beg the cashier to let me have a 50-cent snack. When I went into that deli shop, that snack was going to be my only meal of the day. And she looked at me and she knew I was desperate. She knew I was in a bad place. I only had 6 months left till I graduated. I did not have enough money in my account to get a 50-cent granola bar. I got to get y'all to understand sometimes life happens that way. I was homeless for a period of time, and I promised myself I would never be homeless again. I promised myself I would do whatever I needed to do in order to never find myself in this situation. I found myself in this situation the first time because my mom told me not to get in the frat house. But here it is. I'm young. I'm in college. I'm wanting to stay with my frat brothers. Here it is. One of the frat brothers then fell on hard times, can't afford to pay rent. I'm paying his rent for him all of these months until I finally deplete the $15,000 that I had in savings. From that point on, I did not have a place. I did not have my own home of rest. I remember I would go into the library, I would pretend that I was studying, when in reality, I had nowhere else to go. So, what I'm telling you guys is you need to channel whatever your painful moment was, and you need to ask yourself, how do I put myself in a position where I never have to go through this again? Allow that pain to inspire you to get past this inflation. Shout out to Lauren Morales. Thank you so much, my sis. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the $10 sponsorship. I know I'm putting 20s on 10s right now. Shout out to y'all. Lauren says, thank you for the gems. It's helped me strengthen my family's wealth. Most High in Christ bless. Thank you so much. May the Most High in Christ bless you as well, my sister. And let's give a early congrats for our sister Lauren's upcoming delivery, y'all. Listen, man, this sister Lauren is so dedicated. This sister only got a few weeks to go before her delivery of her firstborn son. And yet she still makes the time to be on this broadcast. That's dedication. Much love to you and the House of Shevis. Thank you all for all that y'all do for the community. For those of y'all that are just now joining, we're talking about how 56% of Americans cannot afford to cover a $1,000 emergency. Most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Most Americans are not getting to the bag like social media gurus would have you think that they are. And tonight we're talking about what to do about that situation. I put up an article a few minutes ago showing that only 44% of Americans can go into their savings account and get themselves out of a jam if they fell on hard times. So now I'm walking through the 3 things that happens when you need more money to cover an emergency, but you don't have it. Number 1 is you go into debt. When you don't have enough money to cover your emergency, this is when you find yourself going through credit cards, payday loans, all personal loans, all of these different kinds of borrowing. You borrow from family, you borrow from friends, your uncle that you don't even fool with, you having to go to him and beg him for money is not a good place to be.
Nope.
So this is the reason why I'm trying to warn y'all now. We can get ourselves out of that situation, but just know whatever money that you're making right now, last year we became 7% poorer. Our buying power decreased by 7% because inflation went up. So my question to y'all in this broadcast, be honest, y'all, do you have an emergency fund? When I say emergency fund, do you have a minimum of $1,000 in your bank account right now? Do you have $1,000 in savings? Let's see some honesty, y'all. I know there's gonna be a time where it gets real quiet. Don't nobody want to put themselves out there. I'm doing this broadcast not to put you on the spot, but to help. And a lot of y'all don't realize that as you chime in on this question, that's actually motivating you to want to do better, because you're going to look at yourself and say, man, I don't want that to be me. I don't want to be the person that's in the midst of, this massive inflation and I don't have $1,000 to bail me out. The third thing that happens when you don't have enough money to cover an emergency is that your quality of living drops. Here's something that I want you guys to think about, y'all. Everybody wants to be successful. But some people go through situations in life where once they fall on hard times, it's so painful that they lose the courage to get back up and try again. So some people were working at excellent jobs. They lost it. Some people had businesses and the business went under. When we go through hardships, sometimes it's hard for us to find it within ourselves to dig deep and get us back to the place where we were before, or even ascend to new levels. So when you fall on that emergency, if you don't have the money to bail yourself out, you could go through such a traumatic event that could actually lower your quality of living forever. God forbid you go through a certain medical emergency. A lot of us, we don't go to the doctor right now because we can't afford the bill. Tell me I'm lying. How many of us in 2022 are still not getting regular checkups, all because we do not want to pay? And I'm talking about even for those of y'all that have health insurance, which, by the way, starting next week, I'm going to be working with you guys one-on-one to start to start discussing how we can set up plans for your insurance. If you want help with health insurance or life insurance, I want you to send me an email. Send me an email right now. I put my email in the comments below. Leave me a comment. Let me know. I need insurance. Reach out to me. I will reach out to you by seeing you in this comment section. And I'm starting next Monday. I'm going to work with you one-on-one privately, so that way we can start getting you some coverage. Listen, I kept telling y'all 2022, the Uzziah show is going to the next level. It's not just going to be me on here and just talking to y'all about what to do. I'm actually going to be working with y'all privately to help you get set up with different policies rather than expecting you to do this on your own. So if you want to protect you and your family, send me an email and I'm going to show you how we can work together to make that happen. All right, y'all. So listen, for those of y'all that are on tonight, we're talking about how 56% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Y'all, do me a quick favor. Let's get these likes up. All right, we got a lot of y'all on, but there's a lot of likes that have not yet been smashed. Please just smash that thumbs up button. It's only going to take 2 seconds, but it will go a very long way towards growing this channel. Y'all see your brothers trying to put the message out there. I'm trying to help as many people as I can, but I cannot do it without your support. That's the reason I always tell y'all to smash that like button, to donate, okay? Whoever is the highest sponsor of tonight's broadcast will be the official sponsor of tonight's show. So in order to be the official sponsor right now, all you got to do is make a donation above 20 bucks. Tap that dollar icon directly below the live chat box. Your donations will be greatly appreciated. All right. Now, let's get back into it, guys. We're still talking about how 56% of Americans cannot afford $1,000 emergency. If you don't have an emergency fund set up, now is the time to get started. Make sure that you have a bank account. I personally recommend that you bank at a credit union. When you bank with the major banks, you always get hit with hidden fees. Some of y'all are banking at Bank of America. Some of y'all are banking at Chase. And you tend to see that every month you tend to get hit with a transaction fee, a maintenance fee. I just want to take money just because fee. This is what the big banks do. And you cannot afford to lose your money. A lot of y'all, if I'm keeping it all the way 100, a lot of y'all right now are losing money from year to year just by going overdraft. Don't think I'm that far removed from the struggle.
Nope.
I know what it's like whenever you hit that overdraft, and damn, that's $30 right there. And then damn, there's another $30 and another $30. Sometimes you can lose $100+ a month just in overdraft expenses alone. So then you end up keeping your money in cash, which is also another reason why it becomes hard to build an $1,000 emergency fund. Guys, budget your money. I told you about men.com. Put yourself on a zero-based budget at the beginning of every month. So that way you make sure that you have enough money to cover your cost of living. If you don't have enough money to cover your cost of living after mapping out that budget, then now you know, hey, you need to be able to set up another income stream. Maybe you need to get a second job. Maybe you need to do some other things on the side. When I was paying off my student loans, not only was I working in corporate America, I set up my business. I started selling shirts and all these other things as a side hustle separate from my business. You got to do whatever you need to protect your family, y'all. Listen, man, times are only going to get that much harder. And I'm just warning y'all now. If y'all thought that 7% inflation last year did something, wait until the next big disaster happens. Y'all see there's all these new different variants. There's all these different things popping off. We have supply chain shortages, labor shortages. Problems are on the way. If you are not saving money, you're not putting yourself in a position to save other resources as well. This is not just the time to save money alone. This is the time where you need to be saving food, water, other essentials. You need to start to prepare yourself for any type of situation where if the grocery stores were out of stock for at least a week, you still are able to sustain your family. You need to make sure you're in a position to where if your electricity went down for a few days, you have enough resources to be able to take care of you and your family, even if you lose power and water. You got to learn how to save for a rainy day. And guys, we're going to close it on this. I keep talking about you having $1,000 emergency fund, but that's the bare minimum. If you're out of debt, you really need to be pressing forward to having 3 to 6 months of emergency savings, bare minimum. One thing that we should have learned from the past 2 years is that if you were affected by those lockdowns and you were running a brick and mortar, the only people that fully survived are those that had a year's worth of emergency savings saved up. or those who quickly got into another profession. If you were a business owner and you ran a brick and mortar, if your thing went under, you had no money in your emergency savings, no cash reserves, you were done. Your business was done. And that's the reason why, guys, we need to have money saved. This channel is about helping you start your own business, but you cannot effectively run a business without having a cash reserve. It's not just money in, money out. You have to run a business with the expectation that there may be certain months where your business is slow. You have to run a business with the expectation that, hey, if I don't reach this quota for the next 2 or 3 months, do I still have enough money to cover my overhead? These are all very important things. And if we are not prepared, guys, it's going to be so easy to go under. Here's my last bonus. I need y'all to understand this. And I'm going to bring it back to the article just so y'all can get this point, okay? Please make sure that y'all smash that like button. Please make sure that y'all donate. We're about to close this out. I want y'all to notice how society keeps people poor. When you see these major news networks say stuff like this, I'm going to show you the reason why this keeps people at the bottom. It says how to build savings this year. For people who want to continue saving or start working on building an emergency fund now, it likely means they'll need some creative budgeting, Brown said. I agree. I mentioned earlier, one of the number one keys as to why most people don't have $1,000 stashed away is because you're not budgeting. But I want y'all to see this. When you scroll down on this article, it says it may also be time for people to diligently shop for deals and start using coupons to keep costs down or even commit to a known no spend period, Brown said. Let me tell you the reason why this advice makes so many people poor. As you read on, she says, your lifestyle can't creep up with the changes. There has to be almost an obsession, a compulsion with prioritizing savings and serious intentionality on where you spend money. The reason why this actually does harm to people rather than good is because they place too much focus on financial defense and not enough focus on offense. Listen, when I was paying off my student loans, before I really knew how money worked, I used to be the one that would go through all these newspapers and I would spend all this time clipping these coupons. Guys, I used to have a coupon notebook. Man, I wish I would have took a picture for that just as a throwback. I used to have like these plastic pockets in a notebook where I would cut these coupons and I would just say, oh man, I'm getting these deals. But do you know why that was a losing decision for me at that time? Because in the amount of time that it took me to create a coupon notebook, I could have invested that exact same amount of time in learning new skills that would have made me enough money where I didn't need to coupon anything in the first place. See,
Nope.
When you get so focused on financial defense, you start looking at life as a zero-sum game. So you kind of go through the mindset, okay, I'm only making $50,000 a year. I got to cut this and I got to cut that. I got to survive. And you get so focused on cutting, you don't realize there's only but so much that you can cut. If you're making $50,000 a year, guys, there's only but so much you can cut because the cost of living is getting more expensive. You need a place to stay. You need a way to get around. You need food. You need clothing. You need basic resources. But there are so many people in hard times that go all in on surviving that they don't put any of their effort into thriving. Unless you want to find yourself on struggle mode for the rest of your life, you have to invest the next 12 months towards actually leveling up. Instead of being the world's best coupon cutter, be the person that doesn't need coupons in the first place. You have to understand how the game is played. And I'm telling y'all right now, this is the reason why so many people get locked into the middle class, because who's doing the coupon cutting? Who's spending all day looking for deals? Is it the wealthy?
Nope.
If you want to be like the wealthy, you got to do the things that wealthy people do. Wealthy people are not sitting up all day looking how to get a dollar savings. They're not going to spend all day focusing on how to save $1 because they realize that $1 is nothing compared to their time. They understand if they spend all day focusing on how to save $1, they easily could have lost $5,000. If they understand that their time is worth a lot of money, they're going to focus on creating skills that will allow them to be able to generate that kind of money from 1 hour to the next so that they don't need to go into desperation. But the reason why so many people end up being in poverty is because you try to solve poverty with poverty. When I was growing up, the main people that was looking for the deals was the people that were on the food stamps. I'm giving you guys the formula on how to get your family out of food stamps. I know some of y'all don't want to hear it.
Nope.
I know that some of y'all right now are mad and angry and take it as a personal attack. I'm trying to help save your life. I'm trying to show you that there's a way that rich people do things and poor people do things. And if you notice, for most of us who actually grew up in certain communities that were not among the wealthy, notice what your family members had in common. They were always looking to penny pinch rather than spend the majority of their time thinking into a new venture that could make more money. This is the reason why there's a book called Think and Grow Rich. While the middle class is spending all of their time working, the wealthy are focused on strategizing new ventures to put other people to work. They're not looking to make a living off of their own physical labor. They're looking to thrive based upon everybody else that's sitting up cutting coupons. So while everybody else is sitting up cutting coupons, the wealthy is trying to create jobs for the coupon cutters to come and work for them, because they know you're not spending any time focusing on leveling up. You're in a mindset, oh my God, it's desperation, it's panic mode, everybody's going broke, everybody's going to be out on the street. If I don't get this, 2-cent sandwich, I'm going to die. Don't do that. I'm telling you guys, get on a budget. I'm telling you guys, be a conscious spender, but please invest the majority of your time or playing financial offense. When inflation goes up 7%, the only people that get over that number are the people whose money went up beyond 7%. If you've been spending the entire time playing financial defense, if the market went up by 7% on inflation, you took a L. You took a L, bro. On some level, you took a L. Whether you had to start cutting subscriptions, whether you had to cut back on the things that you really want to do, you took an L, even for the best of the budgeters. What I'm saying is, if society raises prices by 7%, make sure you raise your income by 10%. If society raises inflation by 10%, then you focus on positioning yourself to learn skills that will double your income. That's the game. And guess what? There's always a limit on how much money you can save, but there is no limit on how much money you can make. You can only save and cut down on so much money. But your ability to earn money has unlimited potential. You see it all the time. Look at all these CEOs that are getting 100% increases, making hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars a year. Why are they making that money? Because there's a certain skill set that they have that the rest of the people don't. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to have a seat at the table, but in order to live the life that only a few people live, you got to be willing to do the things that only a few people are willing to do. And if you're willing to accomplish that, you're going to see your life be put in a different place. Listen, y'all, I'm out of here. If y'all want to know more about how to truly level up, I'm going to put the link in the description below for y'all to join Breakthrough Year. I've been trying to tell y'all 2022 needs to be the most productive year of your life. That's the reason why I'm giving you a 14-day free trial into my 12-month exclusive coaching program, where I'm going to show you guys how to master your time, your money, and your energy. Y'all, listen. A lot of y'all are waiting and procrastinating. Meanwhile, interest rates are going up. Meanwhile, inflation is going up. The cost of living is getting worse. You don't have time to waste. Whatever it is that you're going to do to figure out how to make these next 12 months your most powerful year ever, you need to do it starting today. So make sure that you click that link in the comments below so that way you can get started. Again, this is a free 14-day trial. All you got to do is check out the content, see if it's going to be worth your time, if it's going to truly help you for the year to come. And if you want to stay on board, then the decision is yours. I'm out of here, y'all. Listen, we'll be back on here tomorrow. There's a lot that we're still trying to add to the show, okay? So please bear with us through any technical difficulties. Please leave us comments on different topics that you want me to talk about. Let me know what else you want to see as a part of this broadcast. And Lord willing, I'll see you tomorrow night. Until the next time, guys, keep pushing. And I do want to give a quick shout out to tonight's sponsors. Thank you so much to Lauren for that $10 sponsorship. Really appreciate you. And I thank you also, Brother Yasha Allah, for being the official sponsor with a $20 sponsorship. Even if y'all are on after the live stream is over, you can still donate. The links are in the description below. I love y'all. I'm praying for the best. Stay focused.